Go. Okay, sit yourself onto your lift and just come into a cross-leg position. So sit yourself on a cushion to begin with. So come into a good cross legs. Feel that the seat bones are evenly placed. Hold onto your knees and elevate the heart area up to the ceiling. Draw the heart area to the ceiling and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Spend a few moments listening to the sound of the breath as you inhale and exhale. Look down at the floor, look at something that doesn't move. Keep your eyes still in the sockets and draw your attention into the breath. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Push your palms firmly together. Lengthen from your armpits into your elbows. And then allow your eyes to gently close. Focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area and then gently release the backs of the hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger together with the thumb. Just a gesture of wisdom, of physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry into our practice as an intention. So intending to move into our practice with a mindset of peacefulness, physical intelligence, of wisdom. Raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. Hold onto your knees, elevate the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears to lengthen the neck. And then with an exhalation, turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across. Your abdomen and your ribs and your shoulders. Just listen to the breath as it enters and exits. And then come back to the centre. Hold onto your knees. Elevate the heart area to the ceiling. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the left. And then gently come back to the centre. Come off your seat bones and come down onto your knees and just sit back on your heels. Press the toes into the floor, press the shins into the floor, lift up into the chest. Keep the seat bones in contact with your heels as you come forwards. Stretching forwards, spreading the fingers, spreading the palms. And then bringing your forehead down to the floor. Lengthening the tailbone down towards the heels, spreading the sacrum from the centre out into the side of the buttock. Lengthening from the hips into the armpits, into the elbows, into the wrists, into the palms. Press the forehead down into the floor. That gentle pressure on the forehead helps to quieten the brain. So these three limbering poses are good poses to do if your brain is overactive. So the first is to push the forehead into the floor. The next, in dog down in a moment, is to let the head hang down. And then the same if you do full uttanasana, not quite the same if you do half uttanasana. So you just allow the forehead to press into the floor. Obviously, you always have to do it with ahimsa, non-violence, with just a sensation of kindness and peacefulness. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Come up onto your knees. Turn your toes under. Have your hands as wide apart as your mat. And then come up into dog down. Lift up into the seat bones. Just observe how your body responds to the pose this morning. Listen to the breath. Straighten the legs. Tightening the kneecaps. Push in the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees so you can feel the backs of the knees open up. Listen to the breath. lungs from the bottom to the top. Emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom. Just feeling the body opening up. Okay, step the feet forwards, come up into a standing position, and then have blocks for your hands if you're doing half uttanasana, and then just come into the pose like this, coming down with the fingertips on the blocks, stretching the chin and the chest forwards. Otherwise, we'll go into full uttanasana. So avoid full uttanasana if you've got a bad back. Have the feet as wide apart as the mat. And really precisely align the edge of your feet with the edge of the mat. Lift up into the chest and then raise your arms. Have your arms wide to start off with. This is a good pose for positive thinking, with the arms are wide apart, presenting the chest to the skies. Spend a few moments taking inhalations and exhalations. And then bring the arms parallel, bend your elbows, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows. Wrap your fingers around your elbows if you're coming into half uttanasana. Bring your hands onto your hips and keep the head lifted. Keep the arms lifted if you've got your arms in front of you. Hinge at the hips, come forwards with a straight back, and then allow the top of the body to hang down. So observe the action of the legs. Observe where your weight is in your feet. Is your weight in your toes? Everyone just hit your legs forwards a tiny bit so that your weight goes into your toes. You don't really want it there, but it does help you to stretch the heel away. So that's kind of useful. So stretch the heel away and then hit your shins back, hit your thighs back until you feel your weight driving itself into the heels. Don't hit too far back. You don't want to fall over, but you want to hit the weight back into your heels. Try and get the weight into the centre of the heels. Try and get both legs to activate evenly. Focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. And then release your hands down to the floor. And then just initially come into half uttanasana. So you bring your hands onto your shins or onto blocks if you can't reach. Just push the fronts of the legs through to the backs of the legs, just waking up the backs of the thighs, the backs of the knees. And then bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up, and then come back into Tadasana. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath, tightening your kneecaps, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, tucking the tailbone in. Drawing the abdomen to the spine.
lifting up into the chest. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Spread the toes of the left foot. And then if you can, just pull your shorts up on the left side if you can for vrksasana. And then bring the right foot as high up into the thigh as you can. Now at this stage, just remember you can have something nearby to help you to balance if you need it. At this stage, often what happens is you push the foot into the leg and then the leg just kind of the standing leg kind of bulges out this way. And then trying to lengthen into the spine is almost impossible because the spine is kind of it's almost in an S shape. So this outer thigh, you've got to suck it in, suck the outer thigh in, and then push the foot really firmly into the thigh. And then you get a real firmness, a real compactness that allows you then to find balance. So never let this hip push out in vrksasana. Suck the hip in, suck the thigh in, and then lift up into the chest. And then raise your arms towards the ceiling, palms facing each other, arms shoulder width apart. Listen to the breath. So keep sucking that outer thigh inwards, pushing the standing foot into the floor. Look at something that doesn't move. Soften your jaw and your tongue and your throat. And then release your arm, coming back to the centre. Just as you bring your feet back together, do you notice whether that standing foot turned outwards? So if it did, it means that you're turning that standing leg outwards as well. So you've got to turn that standing leg in like you do in Tadasana. So turn that standing leg inwards. It gives you space in your hips. So just put up your right shorts, spread the toes of the right foot, get that right kneecap to really firm up, and then bring the left foot up into the thigh. So resist that temptation to let that hip kind of bulge out. Push the outer thigh into the foot, push the foot into the outer thigh. So then you get this kind of tube of toothpaste effect up into the spine. You get this much greater firm extension of the spine when you lift the spine to the ceiling. Raise your arms up, looking at something that doesn't move. Keep that standing leg turning inwards. Push the foot into the thigh and then lengthen from the bent leg hip into the bent knee. Bent leg hip into the bent knee. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then gently release and then come back into Tadasana. Come back into Tadasana, turning the front of the thigh, thighs inwards, tucking the tailbone in, lifting up into the chest. Again, when you brought that foot down, did you notice that it turned out, or was it still in, when you just brought the foot down, did the left foot just slot into Tadasana and you weren't kind of at some kind of weird angle? So just observe the action of turning the thighs inwards. It gives you space in the hips. It gives you space to draw the tailbone in. Lift up into the chest. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Okay, and then relax for a moment. Get a chair or just something you can maybe have, like the arm of a sofa or whatever. Do the same thing. Get a belt, and you might want something on the chair to kind of give you a bit of extra height. So we can do padangusthasana, supta padangusthasana. No, not supta padangusthasana, hasta padangusthasana. So just put the belt around your shoulder, your right shoulder, spread the toes of the left foot, and then you're going to raise the right leg onto the lift. Now ideally this lift needs to go kind of at the height of your hip, so that's a little bit low for me. You don't want it to go too high, but you want it to be kind of roughly hip height. So once you've found the right distance, then you just want your heel on the edge of that, on the lift really. Then just come into Tadasana in front of that lift. So like I say, you don't want it to be too high, but you want it to be about hip height. That looks a little high, I would say, perhaps, but maybe we can just work on the hips. So be in Tadasana in front of the lift. Big toes together, really spread the toes and then turn the legs inwards. That's a really key element of this pose. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards so that you feel the backs of the thighs broaden outwards. And then raise the leg. If you've got something nearby just to help you to balance if you need it, then that's good. So at this stage, have a look at that standing foot. Has it already moved outwards? If it has, then come back to Tadasana. Feel where that foot is. Turn that standing thigh inwards and then bring the leg up. So turn the thighs inwards. Turn the standing thigh inwards. Turn the lifted thigh inwards. Get your belt. And then throw the belt around the foot. And then push the foot really firmly into the belt. Pull against the belt so you can lift up into the chest. Keep that standing leg turning inwards. Keep the standing leg tightened at the kneecap. And do exactly the same action with the lifted leg. One of the things that does tend to go wrong in this pose is that the lifted leg hip wants to lift up. So can you lengthen that lifted leg hip away from your right armpit, away from the armpit, so that the hips feel level. Keep the legs turning inwards, lifting up into the chest. If you want to go a bit further, you can cross the belt over and then raise your arms up. So it becomes more of a balancing pose. Keep that standing leg really firmly turning inwards, tightening the kneecaps, tightening both kneecaps, reaching up to the ceiling. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Okay, and then release your arms, release the leg, and then come back into Tadasana. Now, when you come back into Tadasana, does the right foot just slot back in, or do you have to kind of reset the feet? So that standing foot is a real indication as to whether you kind of move the leg kind of incorrectly. So spread the toes of the right foot and then raise the leg up. Just find your balance, just have the belt around your shoulders initially. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Turn that standing leg inwards, especially the front of the thigh turning inwards. Do the same with the lifted leg. Get the belt and then lasso the foot with the belt and then push the foot into the belt, pull the belt towards you so that you can lift up into your chest. Keep the legs turning inwards. Keep the lifted leg hip, it will want to go high, so lengthen it away from that armpit. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, keeping that standing leg firm. Keeping the standing leg turning inwards, the lifted leg turning inwards, so that you can elevate up into the spine. Cross the belt over the foot and then raise your arms up. So the pose becomes a balance, but keep those legs turning inwards. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Hasta, padangusthasana. And then release the foot, and then does the foot just slot back into Tadasana, or has that foot turned out? So if you find that when you bring that foot back it's kind of out like that and the foot doesn't slot in and you have to turn the hips to slot in, then it's about keeping that standing leg really firm. So we're gonna stand with your right leg, so right hip kind of facing the chair, and this time we're going to do parsva hasta padangusthasana. We're going to stand on the left foot and then we're going to bring the right leg out to the side. So again, you have to turn this thigh inwards, but this time you turn this thigh outwards like you're doing kind of konasana hips. So turn that standing leg inwards, turn this lifted leg outwards. So find that side lift. Try not to overturn it so that the toes start to point back towards the wall behind you. Have the toes pointing towards the ceiling. Have your hands on your hips. Again, lengthening that lifted leg hip away from the armpit. Keep that standing leg firm. Just have a quick look down. Has it moved out? Has it gone out of line? And then just throw the belt around the foot again and just hold on to it with as close to as you can with your right leg, and then have your hand, the left hand on the hip. Continue to turn that standing leg inwards. Turn that thigh of the right leg outwards like you're doing konasana. Reach up and then extend your arm upwards. Turn the palm to face the ceiling so that you rotate the upper arm in the socket. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Push in the foot into the belt, keeping that standing leg firmly turning. Keeping the lifted leg hip away from the right armpit. And then release, and then take the foot off and then come back into Tadasana. Just be in Tadasana for a moment, just feel how your legs feel kind of energized. and then turn around. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have a back to you, but turn around so that your lift is on the left side of your body, and then bring that left foot onto the lift. Again, at this stage, just feel that the hips are level, because are they doing this? Is this left leg hip, is it raising upwards? Lengthen from the armpit down into the leg. Keep this standing leg turning inwards. Keep this extended leg out to the side. Rotate it from the inner knee to the outer knee, like you do in trikonasana, just to keep the hips level. Throw the belt around the foot, and then reach as close to the foot as you can. Have your hand on your hip to start off with. Just extend into those legs. Keep turning that standing leg inwards, turning the lifting leg outwards, up into the chest, and then reach your other arm out, and then rotate the upper arm in the socket. Turn the palm up to face the ceiling, so you really broaden the collarbone. Try not to lean into the leg. Make the standing leg firm, because the full pose is where you're just balancing on that standing leg. So if you put all of your weight onto that lifted leg, then you'll never balance. So feel that you could balance. Feel that you really ground the standing leg. Okay, release. And then just come back to the center. So that pose, if you were to get hold of the big toe, you would stretch the leg out, and then you have to kind of keep this leg really firmly balanced. So maybe give that a go. Hold on to the big toe. Bring that leg out to the side. Try and keep, oh, I did that too quickly without thinking. Bring that leg out to the side. Balance yourself with the other arm. The problem with holding onto the big toe is that the leg probably has to go a bit higher, and then the hips kind of will go out of line. So that's kind of you have to then make those adjustments when you're balancing. So just bring in that foot just not as high as you would need to do it for if you were holding onto your foot. That just helps you to get those kind of balances in there in the first place. So fun to try, even if we don't necessarily get there straight away. Just come down onto your knees. Bring your hands shoulder width apart, turn your toes under, and then come up to dog down. Just feel that you stretch out the back. So we've done lots of balancing poses. So balancing poses require a lot of concentration. So we learn to concentrate through our practice. We draw our attention inwards, helping the body and the mind and the breath to concentrate. And then when we have found that concentration, at that stage then maybe we find meditation within our practice. Okay, come down onto your knees. Sit back on your heels for a moment, and then stretch forwards into Adho Mukha Virasana. Stretching out the back.
Aiming to keep the seat bones down on the heels. Press the forehead into the floor. Press the forehead into the floor and then slide the skull away from the neck a little so that the skin bunches around the forehead, around the eyebrows. Okay, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Sit yourself back on your heels for a moment. Just observe the quietness of the brain. Observe the energy of the head and the shoulders and the neck and the arms and the chest and the legs. Just feeling that energetic lightness. I want you to sit yourself onto a couple of blocks and then come into virasana. So have the knees together, and the feet apart, and then you're going to sit yourself down onto the blocks. Move the calf flesh away from the backs of the knees, rolling them out as you sit yourself down, and then sit yourself on the lift. Some people don't need the blocks. Some people can sit all the way down onto the floor. If you can do that, then that's fine. But sometimes, it's just good to be a little kind to yourself as well. Get your thumbs into the inner heels, and then we're not trying to crack any bones or anything, but I want you to roll the inner heels away from their hips so that the little toe side of the foot comes down onto the floor. Try and keep the knees as close together as you can, rolling those heels away from the hips. And then lift up into the chest. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Observe that in virasana, perhaps your spine just naturally lifts. There's a natural openness in the chest. And then raise your arms out in front, hook interlock the fingers, and then turn your palms all the way out. And then raise your arms over your head. So padangusthasana in virasana. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Squeeze the outer elbows in. Feel that you've really planted the seat bones down on the lift. Lift up into the chest, take a deep inhalation, and then with an exhalation, turn to the right side. Turn to the right. And then come back to the center, parsva virasana. Take a deep inhalation, and then with the following exhalation, turn to the left. And then gently come back to the center. Release your arms, and then just swap the interlock of the fingers so that the other index finger is on the top of the stack. So still interlocking the fingers, but you're just doing the unnatural interlock. Turn the palms all the way out again. Raise your arms over your head.
And then turn to the right, keeping those thighs of the legs rotating inwards as well. So just, even though the knees are bent, see if you can continue to turn the thighs inwards. Come back to the center. Take a deep inhalation, and with the exhalation, turn to the left. Rotating the fronts of the thighs inwards to create compactness in the hips. So there's some balance involved in this as well. So as you turn to the left, do you disturb the weight of the seat bones? Are the seat bones evenly positioned? Come back to the center and then gently release your arms, unhook the fingers. Just have the palms facing upwards for a moment. Just feel the energy in the hands spreading into the wrists, into the arms, into the shoulders, into the neck. And then come up onto your knees and then just turn if you need to, and then come up into dog down, just move the blocks out of the way, and then turn the toes under. They'll be reluctant, so just acknowledge that, then come back up into dog down, just straightening out the legs. Maybe after virasana it feels nice to bring the heels down, which we usually avoid because it makes you drop the fronts of the legs often, unless you can really work the fronts of the legs. But after virasana, it's just nice to refresh the ankles by bringing the heels down. Excuse me. And then when you have recovered, just sit yourself down onto your knees and then come down onto your back for Setu Bandha. Just pull your feet in towards the knees, let the knees fall apart, and then guide yourself down along the floor. Excuse me. I wonder if I'm getting a cold actually. I feel a bit bunged up this morning, a bit sneezy. So just have your hands on your lower ribs, observing the energy of the breath. Let the knees fall apart. If it's uncomfortable for your knees, however, then you can put some blocks on the outsides of the thighs. Otherwise, just let gravity draw the knees down to the floor. We're not working hard, particularly just letting gravity do the majority of the work here. So hold on to the sides of the mat. Bring the knees together, bring the knees in towards the chest, and then raise your legs up to the ceiling. So for viparita karanhi, just gentle supported inversion. If you struggle to straighten your legs, then you can put a bolster underneath your hips or a block underneath your hips. But we're not going to stay here for very long, so just work to extend the legs to the ceiling. Pull the toes down to the floor. So we've been working with balances this morning, which helps to bring balance into the body throughout the day. Let's balance in your approach to your day, balance into your decisions. Okay, bend your knees, bring your feet back down onto the floor. Get a blanket, a folded blanket for underneath your head. Just make sure that it's evenly folded. And then guide yourself down in a straight line down the centre of your mat. Have the blanket underneath the back of the neck and the head. And then allow yourself to just completely release into the ground. Let go of the muscles of the arms and the legs. Allow the body to become heavy on the ground. And out of that heaviness comes that sensation of energetic lightness that radiates from the bones and into the muscles. Can you find that lightness radiating inside from the bones and into the muscles and into the organs? That energy radiating from the bones into the muscles, into the organs, into the flesh and the skin. As though it's a golden light that radiates from the bones and illuminates the skin. Going all the way to the tips of the toes, to the tips of the fingers and up into the top of the head, using the breath to help distribute it. So that your entire body glows with illumination from the inside. And then when you're ready, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. And then bend your knees. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into seated position. Up into cross legs with your hands in Namaste, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you've released through your practice this morning. good, positive, balanced energy that we can bring into our day. Draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Just connecting the tip of the index finger with the tip of the thumb, just a gesture of wisdom and physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry into our day. Raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open, and focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy, giving yourself good, positive energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.